Good morning, fellow Plexers. A short while ago I made a video for someone named Chris about getting a Plex container going with hardware acceleration on his Synology NAS as either a fresh Plex install, or you could actually move a package install over and convert it to a Docker container if you want. Well, Chris is having trouble with his pass, and I'm sure he won't mind sharing where he's getting stuck. So under his volume section of his Docker Compose script, the container path is fine, but he's not understanding the path statement yet, and that's the biggest trouble. And my video talked about the fabulous Marius hosting website Docker guides, with one small critique of I don't think the path statements are explained properly. So I really can't highlight just what I want, but of all these paths, of all these paths to media, it's all the same real path. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That path is repeated 7 times. Everything to the left of this colon is real structure. Everything to the right of the colon is a virtual alias to that restructure. So this first path statement says everything in the real media folder, everything in the real movies/media folder is real structure. And everything to the right is what you want that to appear in Plex. Well, you can't redefine something you've already defined multiple times. So if this is Chris's path to just his movie media, this first one would be correct. But if he has other folders set up on his NAS, I'd really have to see that structure to know how to define the paths. I'm guessing something called Home Movies might be a real folder. But where is that real folder? Is that real folder this? Because that would work. But let's not keep what I've done here. But this doesn't make sense. Is this the real folder? Because then this would make sense, but why would you have a shared folder named Movies on your NAS and then put a folder named Media in it to then put a TV show library in it? So I need to see more from Chris to really know what's going on. Let me do it this way. To really know what's going on, to advise him on his structure. But if all his media was in a volume called media, let's do it this way. If all his Plex media was in a folder called media, this is all he would need. And I would do a read-write in case you're going to use a DVR. Now, the way Marius Hosting has it set up is he uses something similar to this. And he might put, let's separate these out a little bit. He might do something like this, where it really defines a shared folder named Movies with a media folder in it, and then a shared folder named TV and a media folder in it. I think he does that to illustrate that you can have a path for each type of library. But I just think it's all confusing. So instead of that, if you want separate paths, let's talk about your folder structure first. So this is all public domain media, it's test media. This is where my real Plex media lies. And this is a demo version of, not a demo version of Plex, but a test version of Plex installed on my Synology NAS. Even though my main media is on the same NAS, a faster Intel NUC points to it on a little unrated install. So if I go in here, this just demonstrates your shared folders, or your sort folders you could have. If I'm going to have 15 Plex library folders, I don't want them all in the same master folder, but they could be. They could all be in this folder. Instead, I want to use sort libraries for each type of Plex library folder. And of course, if you're into the trash guides and you're using a NAS, this is where the landing folder should be. So inside that sort folder are my actual movie library folders, just like normal. Inside my TV library folder are the individual TV show libraries for Plex. The same with photos. Well, this test server, I don't have any photos set up, but if you wanted to organize your photos by year, you would put 2023, 2022, and so on. Or maybe you could have a folder for just Christmas, and you could have your different photo libraries broken down that way. I only have one music library to test with this, and here's the artist in it. But this is a great way to keep your documentaries or your stand-up comedies in separate libraries, but still have it neatly organized in a nested structure. So if you're going to have all your libraries just in one main media shared folder, this is the sort of path you'd want. Let's see, my example for this server is, here's my media shared folder on volume 1, and everything within it gets defined with a virtual path of Plex media. Well, actually, it's Plex look here media after whatever I did last to it. And that covers everything. If I wanted to actually have everything separate, this would be the real structure. And of course, it doesn't match my structure because I just did this fast as an example. But my structure would be that. Well, let's do this quickly. Music was the same. Okay, so I've just adjusted those. And if I bring it in, you'll see how, well, I have to fix it further. Okay, so now this matches my actual structure on this NAS. Volume 1 with a Media PD shared folder. Media PD there. And here are my individual Plex sort folders for each library type. So this one is referenced here, and then it goes to this alias. And then the TV show library is referenced here, and it goes to this alias, Plex TV. And music, other, and that. So let's copy this. And let's go into my Plex server for a second. Okay, so if I go into the settings, you'll see I've got the 3 servers, my main one, two different test ones on two different Synology NASs. So I'm into the one I'm talking about. And if I go down to libraries, and if I edit the movie library, go to the folders, you'll see this is going to be the current alias I have when we go into Portainer. And this references the real structure on my actual Synology NAS. So Plex Look Here is an alias for the real shared folder of Plex PD. So in a movie library, if I browse for media, I'm currently going to see Plex Look Here Media, and then I can see all these individual library folders. That's what I'm suggesting that Chris does. But if you do want an individual path for each library type, that's what I'm going to show how to accomplish in this video. So let's cancel all that, and let's go to Portainer. I don't know if I have Portainer open. I've got two instances of it. I think this is my 1520 plus NAS. So the first thing we have to do is we have to stop this container. And I will get a notification through email that it's stopped. Okay, Portainer notified me. So let's make this full screen. I got the email that the container stopped. Let me go to stacks. Let me go into this stack, click the edit, and you'll see
you have an informational message.
I have the one path statement. This is to my real structure on volume 1, and this is the alias that just points back to this. So you're really trading this name for the real folder name, but only in the Plex interface. So let me do this. I'm going to get rid of that. Alright, so now our config stayed the same, and now we're setting up individual paths to all my library sort folders. And again, you'd only do this if you have them. You really wouldn't do it if all your different types of Plex library folders were in one master shared folder. It just makes no sense. You'd only point to that shared folder. So all I have to do is double check and cross my fingers and click update the stack. I'll re-pull the image and redeploy. And now I can't leave this screen until the container successfully starts. Okay. So I'm working too fast. Photo libraries does not exist. So what did I do wrong? Alright, so let's go back in. I gotta leave this on screen. Alright, so Media PD. Well, let me just do it this way. Just a copy and paste. Oh, it's this. Plural photos instead of photo. Photos versus photos. So that's just working off the cuff. Let me update the stack and redeploy. Just a typo messed that up. Okay, I have a successful deployment of the stack. If I go back to the container tab, you'll see Plex is running. It'll take, well, it won't take too long for it to be running versus starting. Let's bring the Plex web app back in. I think we're already back in because this shows is available. That happened fast. Let's refresh Portainer. Well, Plex is still marked as starting, but let's go here. So if I go into this movie library, nothing's going to play. Let's just give a test for everything. Well, I was hoping that would error out quicker. Okay, so nothing's playing. But we can fix this. So let's edit the library. So before, everything had one alias to what I needed to see. So let's remove this. Now we have individual options over here. I still see everything, but for a movie library, I now have to click into Plex Movies, where before I just clicked into the one alias to drill down. So it really doesn't make a difference what you do, but now that I'm here in the main one, I can save the changes. Everything's going to reconnect, the trash can icons will go away, and these movies will play again. So that's why it really doesn't matter if you define things. Before I go back, let's fix the other libraries. Let's just do this for the repetition. This virtual folder or alias no longer exists, so we have to remove it. And now when I'm browsing specifically to my nested TV show libraries, which is right here, Plex TV, and then I can pick the actual TV library folder I want, add that, save the changes. If I go into it, you'll see the trash can icons will eventually disappear. And now if I go into play an episode, it starts right up. So we'll fix the music library last. Get rid of the path that no longer exists, and now it's just called music wherever I put it. Oh no, I called it Plex Music this time. And into the real folder, click Add, Save Changes, and this will all rescan. The trash can icons went away, and you're golden again. So Chris, I really need to see your actual structure. And I didn't discover that when I replied to you initially. My brain was on one track mode, and I didn't quite see what you had for paths to start with. But once you kind of see what you need to see, it's hard to unsee it. Real structure. The alias to that real structure. So this alias simply replaces all this. So let's go back to Chris's text one more time. I need to see how your actual folder structure is to know if any of this is supposed to be real subfolders under however you've got things set up. I don't even know if this is your real structure yet. And let me bring up my messy web page and let's go to this guide and look and see what his examples are. And this is a great guide. My only critique is this. So yeah, Chris is using a direct copy and paste from this. And this is what I think is confusing, because this is only pointing to a movie library. And I don't think any of us set up a movie shared folder for Plex when we're going to have multiple libraries. So I kind of know what's going on with Chris. This isn't his real structure yet, and we need to get to his real structure to then define these paths. So thanks for watching, and again, this is a great guide from Marius. Use it, donate it, but you need to understand how to set your paths up. And sorry if this video is disjointed. I work on the fly most of the time, and that's the only way I know how to do things. Thanks for watching.